Mother's Day. I'm at the beach. So happy. I don't know if you can tell under my hat and my glasses. I am so happy. I did it. I crossed the country with Bert and Ernie, who did great. And I'm here in Ventnor and Margate. I found an Airbnb, a one-bedroom Airbnb, which is kind of eclectic. It has this makeshift bathroom downstairs. It's a one-bedroom and has a toilet on a pedestal, which is kind of awesome. My throne. But I'm looking for a rental in Margate, but they're all summer rental, like $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 for the summer, kind of a dilly bob. And do you want to see what clouds look like that are not chemtrails? You probably don't remember what they look like, but I'll show you. Those are actually real clouds. And that's what they actually are supposed to look like. That's Margate down there. This is Ventnor. I'm not sure where Ventnor starts, but that's the Ventnor Pier. And then beyond that is Atlantic City. You can see the casinos there. I think that's Claridge, Ocean. I don't know. I don't know what they all are anymore. Fun fact, I worked at the Atlantis Hotel, which was the successor to the Playboy casino. And we still had the same bunny suits. They had pink bunny suits, but no tail. And it was like a very, it was a one piece with black tights and black pumps and coffee soda juice. My boyfriend Dave was the bar back, and I thought he was going to jump over the bar at any time and beat down some of the old men that were being kind of pervy. But we made a ton of money, and it paid for my trip to Spain. So that was okay. Oh my God, my dog just took off. I left off because Bert and Ernie ran down the beach and were terrorizing some poor woman's Frenchie. She was nice about it though. Yeah, as I was videoing, they took off. And I didn't notice it right away. That was awkward. So I don't even know what I was saying, but I think I was talking about how it's going to be a great summer, apart from the great white sighting off of Atlantic City Beach. Some great white they tagged has apparently been spotted over there off the coastline. Are you getting sand in your nose? No, don't do it. Your feet are all sandy. He's trying to scratch his face, but he's got sand on his toes. He's probably getting in the cracks in his face. But anyways, I wanted to talk about how the purpose of my videos is not to, have a pity party and oh, woe is me and oh, the terrible things I've been through. The point of my videos is to say, these are the obstacles I've overcome and how with resilience and grit and determination, you can overcome your obstacles, whatever they may be. So it's really important that we all do the work, and dig internally, deep, to figure out what our demons are and sort of stand up straight, throw your shoulders back, and address them head on. Like, what do I need to overcome in this life? And, you know, we all are overcoming various things, but a lot of them stem around worthiness, different types of attachment, trauma, generational or systemic trauma, all kinds of, you know, challenges and obstacles, addiction, alcoholism, drugs, you know, abuse. So the point of my channel is to just talk about my own personal journey and what it's been like. And again, not from a victim standpoint, as an eternal optimist, as somebody who can find a silver lining in literally anything. Literally anything. And I really think that's the key. You know, where your attention goes, your energy flows. So if you're focusing on the negatives, then that's, you know, what you're going to cultivate in your brain. And of course, I know that's easier said than done, because negative is negative. It's terrible. It's, you know, and sometimes it's sustained negative, which is just seems impossible to overcome sometimes. But, you know, you have to envision yourself in your happy place and get there, go there, even if it's only in your mind, but do it every day, because the reticular activating system supports that whatever we focus on becomes our reality. Our reality has to assemble around you on the outside according to what you're focusing on the inside. It's one of the laws of the universe. It's what I'm learning. You know, I was not sure how I was getting out of Los Angeles. I had no idea how I was going to make that happen. I was DoorDashing for food, for dinner. I used to joke with Isabella, DoorDashing for dinner. And we did, and we bonded, and it was fun. And that's, you know, it's what you make of things. It's how you approach life. Like, I found all the best restaurants in town, and I was well looked after by these restaurants. They were always giving me free donuts and free Thai food. And I mean, it's not about the free food, don't get me wrong. I mean, yes, that was appreciated. I'm just saying, I'm not ashamed that I had to do that. You know, we do what we have to do. I'm blessed that I had a car that I was able to use to DoorDash. I was blessed that my landlord agreed to accept my deposit as my last month's rent. I was blessed that Alice loaned me $2,000 so I could pay my timeshare and capture $5,300 in VRBO rental. I also drained my teacher's retirement account. So between those two alone, that was $10,000 that I all but used to move out of California and drive across the country. I had the wisdom to convert all of my options from my timeshare before it fell behind to Marriott points. So I had 700,000 points when I started my drive across the country, and I used 100,000 of them to stay at Residence Inn Marriotts that are dog friendly, and they were, oh my God, so comfortable, and they had little suites and kitchens. And so I would eat the free breakfast and then drive every 2 hours. I would grab lunch in the car on the way back that would, you know, tie me over for 2 days, just keeping an eye on the money. So one meal would last for 2 meals. And then we just rinse, repeat. We did that for 8 days, and we drove across the country, and it was incredible. It was such a great experience. It was such an adventure. You know, we saw some incredible sights and some beautiful scenery, and the dogs did great. I made them a little, you know, cozy little den in the middle row, and trazodone helped, though I realized after the first 2 days that Ernie only needed a half of a pill. He was like wasted, and that was not great. But anyway, so I cut back on his trazodone, and here we are, and it's Mother's Day, and what a beautiful Mother's Day gift, just being here. I mean, look at this. It's my nirvana. I've come full circle in life. This was my happy place as a child. I spent my summer here, and you know, part of my summer here with my grandmother, who really was my only advocate growing up. Her name was Alice too. She used to tell my mother, "Oh, Alice, leave the girl alone." And then we would meet up with my cousins, ride our bikes all over this peninsula, and go play miniature golf, and go to my Uncle John's house, who lived with my Aunt Eleanor, who had these enormous Coke bottle glasses and was super pious and like married to the church, and they lived together, and he used to tell us stories and had fabulous parties in his backyard. And he had the like twinkliest blue eyes and such a great smile. And he told me about a girl that he loved once, but he never asked her to marry him because he was a postal carrier, and he went to ask for her hand in marriage somewhere in the South, and a butler answered the door. He said, "I knew I could never keep her," which was really sad. And yes, I'm a big crybaby. But I always thought that was like such a terribly sad story. And so he lived alone for the rest of his life, and he never married, and he lived with his sister. But he used to have these great parties in his backyard, and he would always slip us kids a $20 bill, a crisp $20 bill every time we came. So I drove by his house, and it was exactly the same and in much need of a facelift. But I was just so happy to see that it hadn't been transformed into a 3-story mansion like my grandmother's house was, which is okay too. There's a tremendous amount of growth happening in all of these towns, Ventnor, Margate, probably Atlantic City, although it looks fairly run down and maybe a little depressed in the economy there. But it's astonishing how many houses are being built right now, and how many are being like redone, and how many new projects there are, which is a good sign. It's a great sign. I'm going to buy a house on Atlantic Avenue. That's what I'm currently manifesting. Generational wealth to bring my projects forward. I haven't really talked about it, but I have a registered nonprofit in the state of California, which I'll have to look into how to move that to New Jersey, maybe Atlantic City, for transitional housing for women and children of domestic violence and other systemic and generational traumas and their children. And my thrift store, which is the social enterprise, which is the revenue generating arm of the endeavor. I have 4 storage units in California, 2 in Santa Barbara County in Santa Ynez, and 2 in Los Angeles that I need to move over here. But I couldn't coordinate before I left, and I didn't have the money, so I need to manifest the funds to go grab all of my things and bring them to a warehouse here so I can start setting up my thrift store, which is going to have a book corner and coffee and clothing and an art display for the women and children participants in my project. We're going to have local mentors and artists, and they're going to have a voice. One thing you'll learn is I'm a crybaby. I'm very emotional, very deeply empathic person. So I cry a lot. Not cry. Sometimes I cry. But anyways, I'm manifesting generational wealth to bring my project forward. And so I will. Watch this space. It's happening in a house on Atlantic Avenue, right next to the beach in Margate. Thank you for being here.